Hello my good friends, it's Buck Weezer, your friend in all things DIY. This is the channel where we put the do into do-it-yourself, and I've got the 2008 Honda Odyssey minivan. I want to address a problem that might be something you're experiencing. I think it's probably common on a lot of these Odysseys or any of the Honda models that have the 3-liter or 3.5-liter V6. And it has to do with replacing the variable valve timing solenoid here on the front of the engine on bank 2. Now let me give you the backstory before we dive into the project, all right? So on a recent road trip, and this car, by the way, has 251,000 miles. On a recent road trip here, I made some notes. Maybe you can see these. We were experiencing these symptoms, a rough idle. It felt like at idle it was going to stall. It never did, and it seemed okay at highway speeds, although maybe a little bit of decreased power. When I had the chance to put my code reader on it, we came up with two codes that grabbed my attention. This P3497 is a Honda specific code. It's the valve pause stuck off on bank 2. And we also had P3300, a cylinder misfire, and I thought that's interesting. Whenever I see a combination of codes that includes a misfire, I want to address the misfire first, and then sometimes the other codes take care of themselves. In this case, that was not how it turned out to be. I put a new, by the way, here on bank 2, which is the front of the engine. This unit right down there is our oil control solenoid, VVT solenoid, VTEC solenoid, whatever you call it. And there's one on the back of the engine too on bank 1. But this is bank 2, and this is cylinder 4, 5, and 6. So this is the cylinder that's misfiring. And I thought, well, let's try to deal with that misfire first. We'll put in a new spark plug, no change. Let's flop a couple of ignition coils, just swap them, see if the misfire changes. It did not. It stayed on cylinder 4. So I began to realize the problem is not first the cylinder misfire, but it's that other code, P3497. And a little research online tells me that what we need to do is just go ahead and replace that solenoid. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, I'm not going to show you every single step because I just want to do an overview that might be more brief and helpful to you than a long process. There's lots of bolts and nuts to turn, and you don't need to see me do that. This is the part we're replacing. I am not interested in doing an aftermarket part. I went with genuine Honda from the Honda dealer. If you want to see the part number for this front bank 2 oil control solenoid, there it is, part number 15810-R70-A04. Now, you know, I noticed poking around online that a lot of people have success by just replacing the top part of this. And it may be worth a try. But I want to replace the whole thing, because see, the solenoid is down in here. So I don't want to just replace the top. I want to do it right, even though it's a lot more work to do the whole thing. But I want to have this car for a lot longer, and we're just going to do the whole thing, because it's just worth it to me to do it right. So that's the part, and our next step is just to get access to it. So we're going over to the engine, and I am going to spend some time off camera taking things apart. This air box comes off. These coil packs come out. A lot of hoses to unplug, wires. I got to get down to the valve cover. That also has to come out. So when I get to that point, I'll bring you back, because again, I don't want to bore you with wrench turning. Just want to show you the main things. So talk to you again in a little bit. All right, and welcome back. It's been, I don't know, 45 minutes, maybe an hour to get to this point. It really was not that hard. And really just you need a 10 millimeter and a 12 millimeter sockets to get the stuff off. decided to take off the throttle here, whatever you call it, intake. See, we still got some hoses connected there, and I just moved that out of the way. Our wires feeding the well, different wires, our ignition packs and other things. So I just flip that up and out of the way. Undo a few hoses here and there. It's not that hard, and the that upper plenum came off. So I'm going to cover this up because I don't want to drop stuff in there. So that's good, and now we're here at the valve cover. And I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 10mm bolts that will get this off. And then once that's off and out of the way, we'll have full access to the valve assembly and our oil control valve that we're replacing. So it's going really, really easily so far. And I'll pull that off, and then we'll talk about what's next. All right, and we're back. The valve cover came off quite easily, and I'm not really happy looking here at the valve train. I don't like the burnt look to it, and particularly here on cylinder number 4, the one closest to the oil control valve, it looks really dark, kind of burnt. Can you see that? A lot of grime and sludge, I guess. But you know, you're at 250,000 miles. Another thing I see, I think this is an oil passage right there. It looks kind of plugged. Over in this corner, it's not plugged, but here it seems to be. I'm going to try to dig that out a little bit. You know, the car still runs pretty good, but I don't like the look of that. Anyway, it is what it is, and we're going to continue. So our next step, you know, we can't take the oil control valve off, even though it's just 2 12mm bolts. We gotta loosen the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bolts here. They look like 12mm. This I don't know what you call this particular bracket hold down thing. We gotta lift that up a little bit by loosening those bolts, otherwise we won't be able to get that valve off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll be ready to take the old oil control solenoid off of there. So that's my next step, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. Okay, so with the rocker arm assembly loosened, I can pull up on that and remove the old valve solenoid, oil control valve solenoid. You can see it's pretty burnt, as is this end of the valve train. But it is what it is. I'm going to install the new one. I'm going to hope for the best. Had to clean off the mating surface here, and we're going to take a little sealant along the bottom perimeter on 3 sides, and slip it onto the valve train and try to get everything back in place. So that is definitely a two-handed operation, so I'll have to put the camera down. But again, I'm just trying to give you the highlights as we go. And we're moving along nicely. And we're going to be hoping for a good result. And all right, got the new unit in place, and I've got the rocker arm assembly bolted down again. I just got to use a torque wrench and torque all of these bolts to 16 foot-pounds. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to leave this sit overnight so that the sealant has time to dry before we fire it up. And you know, and then it's just a matter of putting everything back together again. And so I'm going to work on that, and then I'll hit you with a final segment. Well, I finished up the job today in the bright sunshine, and it's all put back together. couple final comments that I wanted to make. Obviously, you should do a valve adjustment or check, but I did not do that. I think we're going to be okay. I mean, ideally, that should be done before you put the valve cover back on. I'll tell you, my biggest chore was cleaning the valve cover with the grease and grime of 250,000 miles on it. That wasn't much fun, and I didn't do a perfect job, but it's better than it was, and we're all put back together. The other thing is you need to do an oil change, because for this new spool valve solenoid to work well, it works with oil pressure, so you need good, clean, and the right viscosity oil. I actually put in 0W20. Typically I put in 5W20, but going just a little bit thinner. I did change the oil so that when we started up, the first oil that the new valve's going to encounter will be clean and fresh. All right, so I think it's time to fire it up. I mean, obviously I got to drive it for a few days, make sure the problem does not return, but I think we're put back together enough that we can I can jump in and turn it on. We can listen to it for a little bit. So let's try that. Alright, so there it is, it's running. I think I must have done an okay job of it. Didn't explode when I turned the key. That's always helpful. I'm going to drive this around for a few days, but I think I'm going to sign off now. Thanking you for watching the video. I hope it's of help to you. Your comments and questions are, of course, always appreciated in our discussion below. If I have any updates, look down in the video description. That's where I'll put them. But I'm going to call this one all wrapped up, successful. It's running smooth. It's not idling rough. I expect it to stay that way. I got another big trip coming up, 800 miles here in 9 or 10 days. So I'm looking forward to that. I think we're all good to go. While I had things apart, I put some new spark plugs in on both banks. That's always good. So good luck, everybody, taking care of your vehicles, and I hope this video was of usefulness to you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Remember, guys, only you can put the do into do-it-yourself. Bye-bye.